companion was Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu an. The question for yesterday was, which ayah was the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his tears were flowing and he ordered the companion to pause? And so that is the answer. And the winner is Nusrat Nashita for yesterday. Today's question is, which or when Khaybar could not be conquered, whom did the Prophet ﷺ tell to take the flag and prophesize that Khaybar would be conquered on his hands? As always, you can email your questions, your answers to quiz@islamstl.org. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Insha'Allah, tonight we will recite the entirety of Surah Al-An'am. And very different than yesterday's surah and the surah before it, Nisa and Ma'idah. An'am is primarily, it's a Meccan surah that was revealed in Mecca. And it was revealed at a time where the Muslims were struggling, they were being persecuted. And not only that, but in addition to that, there were a lot of objections from the mushrikun, a lot of tough questions. And many of them did not even know about the concept of prophethood, have a clear understanding of who Allah is. And so Surah Al-An'am is primarily an introduction to who is Allah and what do we believe in. And some discussion about the Day of Judgment, some discussion about the past nations. It's a very, very beautiful read, and it's full, the scholars of tafsir, they say if someone is deficient in their understanding of Allah, in their belief, let them read Surah Al-An'am. And also if someone feels like they don't have that awe and reverence, or they're not as connected to Allah Azza wa Jal being their Rabb, then let them read Surah Al-An'am. It'll soften your heart, and it'll have for you a growing love for your Creator once you read it. Of these many verses, ayah number 43 onwards, Allah Azza wa Jal speaks about the people before us. And there's no specific mention of which people, but there's a mention of a habit that they used to do. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمَمٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. Allah Azza wa Jal says, we sent messengers to nations before you, and we tested them with different types of difficulties. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. Perhaps they turn back to Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is also important to know, because usually if someone is tested, we like to put down that person and say, look, Allah punished that person because look, this is what happened to them. But it doesn't have to be a punishment. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. It wasn't a punishment in the first time. It was a means for them to draw back to Allah. And Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَلَوْلَا إِذْ جَاءَهُمْ بَأْسُنَا تَضَرَّعُوا. That if only they had understood that, and a trial, a difficulty, a test came, and they turned back to Allah sincerely, humbly, وَلَكِنْ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. But their hearts only hardened, and shaitan made their misdeeds, their evil deeds, even more beautiful in their eyes. What they were doing, they thought this is perfect, we need to continue doing it. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. When they did not have any recollection, they completely ignored what they were reminded about, فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَبْوَابَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. That we opened to them the doors for everything. So they had all types of, their rizq is increased, and their honor is there, and there's health, and all of a sudden there's money, and things are happening in your life, and you're thinking, wow, I'm really chosen because Allah is blessing me with that. But Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَبْوَابَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَتَّى إِذَا فَرِحُوا. Until they became so happy, they're so elated, بِمَا أُوتُوا أَخَذْنَاهُمْ بَغْتَةً فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْلِسُونَ. We took them, we punished them, a swift and quick punishment. And this is a very, very important type, at least in the first case, where someone is going through a difficulty, we still hold on to some sense of a test. So we say, don't worry, Allah is testing you. Allah tests those that are people of Iman. Allah is testing you, be patient. Insha'Allah, you're going to get something better. But usually when people get something good, especially the person themselves, it's very hard for them to think that this thing could actually mean Allah is angry with me. It doesn't necessarily mean that if things are good and all of a sudden everything is lining up, that Allah is happy with you. That does not equal Allah's pleasure. It can equal Allah's pleasure if what that makes you do and what you decide is to do acts that are pleasing to Allah. People, things open up for them, and life is good, and they think, this is a blessing from Allah. I need to give back to my community, I need to thank my Creator and be obedient. And those people, their goodness is a blessing for them. And other people think, I've been chosen, this is special, I knew this was coming for me, it's a big day, and they're so full of themselves that they forget the point and they grow further from Allah. So neither is a difficulty from Allah translate to a person being punished, and neither does worldly luxuries coming to a person translate to Allah's pleasure. Both of them, it depends which one brings you closer to Allah. That's when you know that it is a true blessing, and you'll see that in the akhirah. We ask that Allah Azza wa Jalla make us such that when He blesses us with blessings, we use it to grow closer to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.